Hey everyone, this is Jake, and today we are going to be talking about Awaken Yuna. Awaken Yuna is probably a long-awaited character for a lot of people, and so as for me. And she is definitely the first character that I'll be rolling within C server as Awaken banner goes. So we will talk about Yuna today, and I already have a video posted back in the day, like almost a year ago, when the Yuna first came out within Korean server, and I talked a lot of things about her within that video. Since then, a lot of things changed, the meta changed, and overall shift of gears changed a little bit, but I think the overall impression of her within PvE still stands very similar to what I explained within the video. Not to mention, she did get buffed shortly after I posted that video, so she was a little bit better than what she was doing within PvE side within that video. Also, I have much better gears now in terms of gear wise, so I'm definitely be able to show you guys basically the best version that she could be performing when it goes to PvE contents. So we'll jump into this video, we'll talk about Yuna's skill set and why she is very crucial within PvE contents. Then we'll also go and talk about what kind of thing we can expect from her within the future, as well as the PvP and other contents. So let's talk about Yuna and we'll see what she is capable of. So her passive skill is pretty crucial, so let's talk about her passive skills first. When she deploys, she will be summoning this phoenix named Rayleigh. The Yunas will reduce HP for herself as well as enemies around her, and she will be reducing 2% of their health every second, which is pretty big deal. This is going to be doing a lot of dot damage. So basically she's going to burn enemies, and enemies going to get some kind of burn mark on them, and they'll be constantly losing their health every single second. But when the Rayleigh is on the field, she is able to recover her health 3% each time. So she's able to recover health more than it reduces. And when the Rayleigh dies away, she won't be able to get the 3% health recovery, which is a very crucial thing to keep her alive. And after Rayleigh revives after 5 seconds, he's continued to be able to attack enemies as well as to heal her once again. And when Rayleigh dies out, for the 5 seconds, she is able to get the 50% of damage resistance. And when she uses her special attacks as well as ultimate attack, she is able to get 50% extra HP recovery rates. Now this thing only works when the Rayleigh is around, so we'll talk more about her other skills now you understand what the Rayleigh is. Now back to basic attack, she is doing 2 bandages, which is pretty decent damage, but the Rayleigh will be also attacking enemies. And every 5th attack Rayleigh does is going to aim enemies that's farthest away from them, and it will be attacking them and reducing their attacks and attack speed for 30% for 5 seconds. So this is really useful debuff to have as well. It's going to be able to aim for enemies in the back line and able to kind of take them down and reduce their DPS by big time. It's a pretty good basic attack that ties well with the passive skill. And the special skill is called her Solar Flame. She basically summons this pillar with her staff, and it's going to do a lot of AoE damage, and it is pretty short cooldown, it's 20 seconds, so it's pretty short skill that she's able to spend quite a lot. And when enemies get hit by the Solar Flame, enemies will lose their buff casted on them, but this is a pretty good way to strip the buffs off from them and making sure they won't be able to get the extra buff within the next 6 seconds. And when she casts the skills and the Rayleigh is on the field, she's able to recover her health by 10%. And as you level her up the skills, she's to be able to do more damage with the skills. When you max the skills out, every time she casts the skills, for the 8 seconds she'll be getting damage resistance plus 15%. And when the Rayleigh is alive within the field, she should be able to get the twice as amount, meaning that she's able to get 30% damage resistance. So this special skill makes her able to heal herself with a short cooldown time and keep able to cast the buffs to have a minimum downtime with her damage resistance buff. Not to mention every time she spams the skill, she's able to get the 10% of her HP back, which is pretty big deal. Her ultimate skill looks pretty cool, called Prominence. Kind of reminds me of what is that character from the My Hero Academia. Anyways, but she uses the power of the sun, and she just throws that at it to the enemies, and it'll be doing 4 ballad hits. And whenever she casts the skills, if the Rayleigh is on the field, she is going to recover 20% of health, and she will be kind of invincible as she casts the skills. So this skill is very useful skills to have. Damage is definitely pretty decent, but the fact that she's able to recover 20% of her health really does help her to stay alive in the field much longer. After casting this skill for the 12 seconds, she'll be getting 15% damage boost, and when the rally is out in the field, she is going to be able to get the 30% damage boost. So she has basically everything you kind of need as a frontline striker. She's able to heal herself, she's able to get some damage resistance buff, she's able to get some 30% damage boost every time she casts ultimates, and then she has this extra passive attack that it burns enemies around her, reducing their health by 2% every single second. So Yuna's skill is very long. Like I said, she's able to burn enemies and constantly doing AoE fire dot damage on them to chip away their health every single seconds. And while her special skills and ultimate skills definitely not something to sleep on, because it will increase her damage and damage resistance, not to mention is healing her health to make sure she is able to stay alive within the field even without some of the medics coming in to help her out. This is definitely one of my favorite character types of design, and skill kits are really cool, and I definitely love all the effects she has. So you guys should be very excited for her, and I can definitely tell you guys many good things about her. And let's quickly talk about Yuna's gear option. Yuna's gear option is very simple. It is all about stacking up her cooldown time. So you do everything possible and necessary to max out her cooldown time, meaning that she is able to spam her special skills as well as ultimate skills much as possible, so stack the buffs up and she's able to cast the skills to heal herself within the battlefield. You definitely want to get a full maze cooldown set. So with this setup, you are able to get the 72% cooldown time, and she's able to cast her skills fast as possible. Now there is a little bit other option you can definitely go for, and this other option is with the Gorgeous skill cooldown set. And with this, instead of doing anti-ground damage, she is going to get the close range damage resistance. This isn't too bad, but I think in a lot of cases you are definitely be able to go through with this setup within PvE. But if you feel like your Yuna is melting too quickly, then definitely considering Gorgeous gear with the cooldown set option is definitely possible. But long as you have that 72% cooldown time as an end game gear goal, you should be able to get the full set out of Yuna, and Yuna should be able to destroy your enemies and able to heal herself while doing so. So pretty simple character when it comes to gear design, and you can just definitely go with that flow. Now, how does Yuna performs and fares within PvE content? Yuna is still a very good character that you can definitely use within PvE contents, and some contents like Shadow Hole, she will be carry for sure. She should be able to just carry your way through, shredding HP of a lot of these enemies, because those enemies are not considered boss types, so her passive skills still work against them. Then she's able to shred their health a lot, and they have like millions of HP, so her passive doing HP percent damage on them is definitely a huge damage. So as a result, she's able to do millions of damage per round, and she should be just sitting top of her DPS, because there's so many enemies that will be getting their HP reduced by her passive skills, and you're just able to just stand there, and long as she's alive, she's able to shred their health away like nothing. Not to mention, she's pretty tanky character with a decent amount of cooldown set, while she's getting some barriers from Harim and able to cast her skills faster and faster, keep healing herself and doing more damage and getting more buffs on herself to get some damage resistance and some attack boost. So overall, her skill kits are very nicely designed. Now the gear setting is definitely pretty hard on her, I'm not gonna lie. You definitely need to get some skill cooldown sets to get a constant flow of buff and debuff, as well as a health regeneration cycle going up. But long as you are able to get a decent amount of gears, you will start feeling like, wow, she is incredible. Just being out on the field, she's able to shred their HP. That already is a huge aspect. Yuna will just be there to carry your ass, and it is possible to clear the stages without her. Trust me. But with having Yuna is definitely going to help you in a lot of the situations, especially when you're running for auto run. Yuna will be definitely one of the top picks because she is able to do a great result every single round. Some other dungeons she can definitely perform pretty well is some within challenge dungeons. Challenge dungeon 3, she will definitely have some spaces where you feel like she is able to do a great amount of damage against the enemy soldier defenders, and she's just able to shred their health like nothing, and it is pretty useful to have her in a situation like that. Now there are some replacement that you can definitely use her within challenge dungeon. I think Amy is definitely a pretty good replacement. Amy is only able to apply that debuff with her skills only, so it is a less constant DPS, where the Yuna, as long as she's standing there, she's able to apply those debuff around the enemies around her. So it's a little bit different in fact, but the kind of goal is the same. You want to kind of shred their HP with their skills. So Amy is still pretty viable options that if you don't have a Yuna or if you really don't want to pull her. But the Amy is really far away from the where you are at within C server, and you're probably not going to see until at least first anniversary in my opinion. So it's really up to you if you want to wait for Amy. But in the meantime, having Yuna will definitely help you out to clear a lot of PvE contents. So when it comes to PvE content, to this date within Korean server, Yuna is very reliable option for a lot of different contents, and I definitely enjoy using her. But the one negative I can definitely say, like I mentioned, is her HP shredding does not work on bosses. So you gotta remember, a lot of her damage comes from the HP shredding passive skills, and the bosses does not work on that. So like raid boss will not work, guild raid boss will not work. So consider those options, and you kind of have to figure out which you want to be used. And like I said, Shadow Hall is going to be content that you'll be spending a lot of time with. A challenge dungeon, of course, and sometimes having Yuna will definitely feel like you are able to break the wall that you weren't able to because you have her. So Yuna, end of the day, I think she is still a very good investment that you can invest into when it comes to PvE contents. Now, Yuna within counter-size PvE right now, within Korean server, she is definitely not the meta pick. She is pretty tricky to use in my opinion, and a lot of people probably agree with me. The first thing is because there are so many different snipers now. There's this sniper like Rudamilla, there's a Queen, there's Amy, all these snipers that's able to do a lot of damage, and even there's a soldier class SSR. Sniper units is able to kind of aim and seal their skills and everything. So there's a lot of characters that's able to counter Yuna pretty well. And Yuna is definitely not tanky enough to fight against those enemies, and those enemies, sniper is definitely going to be equipping with maze gear, so they're going to be doing a lot of anti-ground damage. And sniper class, like I said, is pretty strong right now within counter side. It always has been, but since some awakenings and some SSR snipers, yeah, they do really good damage, and they tend to have a pretty long range compared to Yuna. So Yuna will be out of range and sniper's already shutting her down. Quinn is especially able to stun enemies with her special skills, so Yuna will be just walking towards the Quinn, and Quinn just zaps it with her special skill, and rarely is dead. If she's stunned and she can't move, then she does a couple basic attacks and then Yuna is dead. So there are a couple clips here that me just shredding Yuna, and Yuna is definitely still not the weakest character. I definitely don't think so. She gets a moment time to time that you really feel like she's doing the work. And especially if you look at some of the top ranks within Korean server, there are a couple people, especially this week, utilizing Yuna with the Albion. I've never been really successful with this Albion tactic. Albion has the special skills with the ship that you're able to throw onto your allies, then it will make the allies go stealth. So with this play, Yuna is safely be able to kinda, go through enemy's front line and able to survive long enough until she can charges up her skills to use her ultimate skills and go forward. There are definitely counters to that, like a Kami should be able to shoot that buff off of her, then she's kind of screwed. And if you have some snipers that are able to destroy her already, then she will be gone in a second. So they are definitely a risk for that. So Yuna is definitely not a character like the back in the day where you just throw in some defender, throw in some supporters, and just let her go and do the thing. It's nothing like that anymore. But definitely she is still pretty useful time to time that I can see if you are pretty good with it. But there are also a lot of cases that you are just kind of feel like she is just melting too quickly, even with defensive gears on her. If you want to Gordius set options, she really feels like she's melting away pretty quick. But I think Yuna, when she comes out within the C server, I think she'll be very strong meta pick, because there's not enough snipers right now within C server. When the Rudamilla comes out, probably gonna be more breeding room against it. Karin Wong is definitely actually not a bad choice. She should be able to shut down Rally pretty easily and able to do a decent amount of damage here. So you have to consider that, and consider the fact that you can probably just throw in Yuna and save up some costs and maybe throw Awaken Hilde, giving her barriers, and Awaken Hilde is gonna be pretty hard to kill with some of the rangers you have, and Yuna will be the one just taking out your rangers from the backline, because like I said, it really should be able to hit the backline, so hurting your rangers. It's going to be pretty hard to fight against her. Those two awakening combo is probably going to be harder to pull off, definitely, but once they are both out on the field, it's going to be really hard to fight against her without the certain snipers we have right now. There's going to be other defender coming out as well to aid her for sure, so we'll definitely see how things will turn out. But say server wise, she should be pretty strong, and I don't think you're going to be regretting pulling for her if you're looking to use her with the PvP for now. Alright, to close up this video with, what do I think about Yuna at the end of the day? I think Yuna is definitely worth your tickets and worth your pity. She's definitely one of my favorite awakening character, and definitely one of my favorite character periods within this game or even other games. What kind of game you gonna see character like Yuna? I think Yuna, is concept wise, is really cool, and overall I think she is just very fun units to use, and her skills are flashy. Definitely enjoyed her event story as well, and how she unlocks her power to become awakening units. Hope you guys enjoyed this Yuna review video, and hope you guys learned a bit about her, understand how her skill works. It's pretty simple. She is definitely not a complicated character. All you need to know is she just needs a lot of skill haste, so she is able to continue to get a buff from her skills and able to heal herself to stay alive within the field. Then she should be able to do a lot of damage with her passive skills along with the other skills on the side. So that is pretty much it for my Yuna's review video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and please let me know what you think about Yuna. If you're gonna pull for her, or you already pulled her and you like her, you don't, just let me know all of it, and I would like to hear from you guys, because like I said, she is definitely one of my favorite awakening characters in this game. So anyways, this is Jake. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.